You know when you slam down into your butterfly and you're sure you made the save and you're pretty excited about it, and then you realize that somehow the puck is in your net? That's what we're going to fix today. Both you and your goalie coach are going to love this video today because I'm going to give you 3 exercises to help you perfect your butterfly on the ice. So we're going to work on getting both pads down at the same time, so it's not that little boom that some of you have. Some of you have. I don't have that. Some of you have that. We're going to work on getting you down and still staying tall in your hips, not sort of sitting your butt down. We're going to help you, aka me, hold that wide flare when you go down into your butterfly, and work a little bit on sort of tracking the puck from your butterfly. I'll show you what I mean. But before we get started, let me tell you who I am. My name's Maria. I'm an exercise physiologist. I specialize in off-ice training for hockey goalies so that you basically win more games with fewer injuries. If you're new here, subscribe. I'd love to have you part of the tribe. And if you've been around for a while, just hit like now because you know it's going to be good. Let's go. It's always a catch-22 for me because I want to help you refine your on-ice technique with off-ice drills, but I don't ever want to just add senseless wear and tear to your hips, knees, and ankles. So we're going to work on some of these drills, and they're very specific drills. Will they add some wear and tear? Yeah, going into the butterfly isn't a natural movement for your hips. Just like throwing a baseball for a pitcher isn't a normal motion for anyone's shoulder. But what we're trying to do is refine the movement, and we're trying to minimize the load that's going to go into your hips, knees, and ankles by doing it this special way. So in this drill, it's what I call a big bang drill because we're working on getting both your knees to hit the surface at the same time. And I'm kneeling here on an AirX pad, which is about, an inch and a half, probably 2 inches thick. Plus I'm wearing my knee pads. Part of that is to cushion. I don't want you smashing down on the floor. However, I'm using a super band to kind of resist me. So that's going to take off some of the load. What I really am trying to get from this is some height off the floor to be at least as high as my knees would be off the ice, and ideally actually higher. So you don't need anything like this. You could grab a sofa cushion. Actually, they work perfectly. I've used those when I travel, to hotels. Grab a sofa cushion, put it down, or 2 sofa cushions, and it works really, really well. You could use, if you have a Bosu at home, you could bring your knees down so they touch just sort of the down slope. Maybe not right on the very top, but the down slope of the Bosu. Something that's going to give you some cushioning and some height as you go. When you do the drill, this is about probably a 2-inch super band, 1.5 to 2-inch super band, and I have that located just at my hips. I'm going to come up into a really low stance because I'm not trying to, I don't want to drop from as high as possible because that's going to be more impact. So I'm getting in a really low stance, but what I'm working on is that release of getting my knees down. So I can't actually think of driving my knees down. Do you see how the bungee gives me something to push against? So I want to keep tension in the bungee as I come down, because if the tension goes away, then I know that I'm sitting down in my hips. The other thing that you should pay attention to when you do this is, hey, where would your glove and blocker be? And what are you doing with those as you go down? Are you dropping them? Are you lifting them? Are they going crazy places? So those are 3 things we're going to work on in this drill. Also looking, hey, is my 5-hole closed as I do that? You are going to do 10 deliberate repetitions. So this isn't speed training, this isn't conditioning, this is trying to rework a pattern. So when I say deliberate, it's like I'm going to get set, think about, boom, what am I doing? So keeping my hands in front, keeping my hips up, then I'm going to do a little spot check. Did I do those things that I was trying to focus on? Where maybe I sat back in my hips. Maybe I let my hands drift back. Okay, on the next rep, I'm going to focus on that element until I've got it down pat. In the intro, we talked about leading with your, or tracking the puck out of the butterfly. So thinking about leading with your head in your hand. So maybe I've made a save, maybe I've popped a big rebound right out there, so I need to follow it. So what I'm going to do is lead with my head and my hands, snap around a bit, but work on getting this balance. Ideally, what I'm trying to get to is so that I don't even have to put this foot down to kind of stabilize myself, but that I'm working on this hip stability. Yes, your torso plays a role, but it's really how do the muscles across your hip and across your torso work together to keep you balanced. So I've gotten into my butterfly. Oh, boom, popped out a rebound. Boom, coming around to get squared up to that puck. Leading with my head and my hands. And I'm looking out there as if, if the puck's actually out there. I'm not like here looking at my knee and my hip as if that's going to help somehow. So you can start slow and then build. I want it to eventually be nice and quick. And if you have to put your toe down just to help you get set, then go for it. But what that does is it helps you arrive where you need to be balanced. It helps fine tune. I know on the ice you're not going to snap around and I'm balanced, but if you have that, we're going to like hyper tune your stability so that you're just always balanced over the leg, ready to drive in an efficient position. You're not arriving a little bit here and then you're bleeding energy, opening gaps, all those things that we don't want to do. You'll do 6 reps each way, holding for 2 or 3 seconds just to really establish, yeah, I've got my balance. If you don't quite have it off the bat, put your toe down, find it, and then hold for the 2 to 3 seconds before you reset. This also is deliberate practice time. Hands up if you ever go into your butterfly and that flare folds in behind you, or in particular if you're pushing across the crease in a half butterfly, this pad keeps folding in behind you. That's what this drill is for, to help you build the strength in those hip internal rotators to hold that wide flare, because that's not a motion that normal people do. and we never train it specifically, so why would we ever have control out there? For this drill, we're going to use isometric hold. Isometric is when you produce force with your muscles, but there's no movement of the limb. So, if I just push with all my might into this wall, I'm still building strength in my muscles, even though I'm not actually moving the wall. I won't do it because just in case. Last time I did it, we had to move because move the wall. But anyway, so I am in my wide, but shoelace alert. There we go. So I'm imagining that I'm in my butterfly with my right pad down. I'm going to push across the crease. So I'm getting into kind of as wide a flare as I can with my foot against the wall. I'm trying to stay tall in my hips, so I don't want to rotate my hips away because then I'm not actually in any kind of hip internal rotation. So I'm going to keep my hips pointing straight ahead. This foot just helps me balance. Now I'm pushing my foot into the wall. So I'm trying to do, this is the action I'm trying to do. Boom. Just like that, but because I'm at the end of my range, you won't actually see anything. So I'm trying to rotate that foot this way to swing it around. I'm going to push for 5 seconds and relax. I'm going to push for 5 seconds, building that pressure, and relax. Staying tall in my hips, staying square in my pelvis. I'll do about 6 repetitions of a 5-second hold on each side. You're going to feel very weak in that position. Our muscles are typically weakest when they're in their lengthened position. So don't let that rattle you, or don't even, I don't feel it working. If you're pushing as hard as you can into the wall and you don't really feel muscles working, it's because you actually don't have very much strength or control in that range at all. As you go, I think you'll learn and you'll build some strength and some control that you'll be like, okay, actually, yeah, like I'm not super strong, but I actually feel now the muscles that I'm trying to work. So please make that brain muscle connection as you do it. Don't just try to push on the wall, really try to rotate that hip to push your foot into the wall. And if you're like, I don't get it, just drop a comment below, because I answer every single comment. So I'll help you understand, or I'll shoot another video doing a better job of explaining it. Adding more strength will help, adding more balance will help, but what we're really trying to do with these deliberate drills is change a motor pattern, and which is getting both pads down, staying tall in the hips, holding that nice wide flare. Then to make it automatic, hey, if I have to move from here to track the puck, I'm going to lead with my head in my hands, and I'm going to be balanced in the direction that I'm going. So it takes time to change a motor pattern, and it takes conscious practice. So we'll work on these in a fairly low volume over the off the ice. Don't do a high number of reps, because then you're just adding somewhat needless wear and tear. Practice it off the ice. Make snapshots of how it feels when you're doing it right. Then take that onto the ice. Even if you are the first one out on the ice and you have a few minutes to practice, do this deliberate practice. Look and see, am I in the right position? And then keep trying to use that and work on that with your goalie coach. But be patient with yourself. It takes time. It's not something you're going to change in 2 weeks. You need to just keep sprinkling it in and practicing. This is a little bonus tip for you, but when I do these, I will usually wear my glove and blocker and hold my stick, or at very least hold my stick and have my glove where it should be. I'm one of those people that does a lot of weird things as I'm going into my butterfly. I will lift my stick off the ice. I don't know why, but I will. I will let my hands drift back. When I rotate, I will, going this way, I'm great leading with my head in my hands. Going this way, not so much. My stick will be out here somewhere. So that's a bonus tip for you, and I think it really helps improve the quality of your deliberate practice and helps it translate onto the ice. Some of you might have gotten to this point and you're like, oh yeah, I got a problem with my butterfly. My butterfly is that it's like this narrow, like I have no flare. If that's your problem, I have a solution for it as well. It's called the Butterfly Challenge. So just go to your app store, type in Butterfly Challenge. It's a free 14-day goalie-specific program, specifically to give you a wider butterfly flare. And most people get sort of 2 to 5 inches wider flare in that 2-week period. So you can go check that out. I'll drop a link in the description. If you've already done that and you got great results, but you're looking for a more pro-style mobility program, maybe you're happy with what you're doing at the gym, or you're just like, I don't have time to do more workouts at the gym, but I really need to improve my mobility, then it would be www.strategicmobilityforgoalies.com would be the more advanced pro-style mobility program that I have. Again, I'll put a link in the description for that as well. If you haven't subscribed already, I told you to already, but hit subscribe, hit like. If you are subscribed, hit the bell, because then you find out about new videos before anyone else, so you can start working on this stuff before your goalie partner does. And the last thing is I want to hear from you. And so tell me what gives you trouble when you go down into your butterfly on the ice. What are those little things, like you did the right thing and you still got scored on? For me, it's actually opening my 5-hole, doing crazy things with lifting my stick off the ice. Those are probably the big 2. What do you do that costs you goals? Drop it in the comments below, because again, that's how I get ideas. That's my brain food for creating these new exercises and drills to make you better goalies, so you can stop more pucks, win more games, and have fewer injuries. That's it. I will see you next week. Same bad time, same bad channel.